Hey everybody, I just want to let you all know this is not cool. It's not cool to tell people where I live. It's not cool to be that invasive and that just go in and just like, look what they did. So as you can see, they're just merciless in their hatred towards me. I don't know if it's jealousy, I'm not really sure, but...
What are you doing?
I'm just explaining to everyone here what's really going on and who the real victim is in these circumstances, okay? Oh, did I mention I lost 2 kilograms? You like short hair? I can have short hair. You like blondes? I can be blonde. Hyper. You're gonna get it. Eurobees and shit. Hello everyone, I'm Steve. Marc's around. Say hi, Marc.
Hey everybody!
This is Smokey, Steve, and Marc. Either welcome or welcome back, and happy Saturday. It's the weekend. In the PM, I'm having hazelnut powdered creamer and some store brand Colombian stuff. Not bad. So I hope everyone's well, everyone's safe, look after yourselves, look after each other. Today we're going to catch up with our fair lady Chantal Marie, Foodie Beauty, Big Beautiful Me, the Daily Chantal, Chantopolis, Chantal and Shala, Chantal on the Rocks. I don't know, Foodie Beauty again at the moment. So when we checked in last week, the mukbangs had continued, and they continue this week as well. She was larger. That continues as well too. Last week we talked about their new condo and their new apartment, which there was a bit of a complication that came up this week about that. But they have a great ocean view and an interesting bathroom. The Missy Moo drama that was going on last week a little spilled into this week, but I gotta be honest, I feel like I'm supposed to care about it and I don't. I feel like some of it's just contrived. I feel like it's Missy Moo offering herself on the altar for Chantal's views. I don't know. I'm paranoid. It's probably me. And how everything is still about Natter, because everything always is about Natter. So, we will start with the mukbangs. There might be a bit of a plateau that looked like it showed up as far as views. Her, of course, ongoing need for attention and for money. Kind of with the mukbangs, like, there's no other options. How dare you judge me for making this content? But if she didn't make anything else, no one else would watch. I mean, if the last 3 weeks were any evidence of that, the mukbangs got the views, and her tours of this and that got nothing. So, the luxury fart box that she's living in. People are wild, man. People are wild. Striking channels for privacy because they disclosed her location and it was not safe for her. And then also her weight being out of control. I don't know what it would take for her to notice, but a lot of side-by-sides that, you know, we're seeing more of her unfiltered from the side, which is her least flattering. My most flattering is from the side. It's when I turn to the front that you can see like a spare tire kind of go out like that. We all have our good angles, I suppose. So, mukbangs plateauing in views. So, the last mukbang she had that made 20K. And 20K for a video was almost nothing when she was just doing the high, natter, rage, live, all that kind of stuff. And people were just going for the spectacle of it. She hasn't had one that broke 20K. She had, over the last few weeks, they get a good pop in the beginning of the day, depending on what it's about. She might get up to 10,000 in a 24-hour period, and then it trickles up another few, and then it stops. People don't go back and look at them. They're recorded. They're not live for the most part. And they're not good for the most part, but that's neither here nor there. So 10 to 15K per video, and about a video a day. Also mixed in with the other smaller, shorter videos she makes that are like 8 minutes and 2 seconds, so that she can jam 15 ads into it. Whatever. So, with the mukbangs plateauing, what could be wrong? What could be wrong? Well, for all of you who haven't been around for a while, and a while in girl world is, whatever. I started watching Chantal about 4 years ago, and I watched her for a while. I was thinking, I want to do reactions. I like channels. I have some opinions. So I had been watching, of course, Amber and her, and Amber just made me sick. Not interesting, very annoying. I don't care what happens to her, not even in a novel sense. Foodie Beauty, initially I related to a lot more. The bad stuff about her are bad ways that I've acted, thought, and felt or treated people in the past. I try not to live like that now, but I think some of the things that people find dumbfounding about her choices and her behaviors, to me, in the sick part of my brain where the wiring is off now, it makes perfect sense. So I have a different context I kind of look at Chantal in. That doesn't excuse anything, to kind of explain rather than excuse. The last thing she needs is more excuses. She already feels like a victim and she's never had any consequences. So, the old mukbangs were more presentable. She'd put on the full face of makeup, nice outfits, straighten her hair, and at this point, I'd rather see her own natural, slightly grown out hair than the hijab, because she's starting to grow within it, and it seems like, like when tree roots start to pop out of the sidewalk kind of thing. I think it's going to start happening all over, because she's continually filtering and then cutting a mark into her face where she looks like the Scream mask, because it's so oval. And Chantal, of course, we'll forget the harem part about it, because if, that matters to her anyway. She'd find another way around it. The same way that she can pray at home and not have to go to the mosque. But the old mukbangs were a touch classier. If you can call a mukbang classy, they were classier, at least for her. She knew the stories she was talking about. I don't know that they were always true, her stories of youth, because sometimes they have different endings depending on who she wants to make look bad. Invariably, the person who stole her boyfriend is now a homeless prostitute, and then she gave her a 20 when she was driving through the ghetto in Montreal or something. There's always some little thing like that with it. She was more likable, though. The new mukbangs are just not it for me. The discussions are long. The discussions are boring. She'll pick the most boring part of her life to talk about while she's eating, and then there's these long lulls in between talking where she's taking huge, enormous bites, barely chewing them. The woman's a walking choke hazard. She should look how to do the Heimlich on herself, because she'll really, really go. It'll be messy. You don't want to die choking. It's too easy. So just be mindful of that if you could. So what's next if we don't do mukbangs going forward? Well, we've tried every version of mukbang that there pretty much is. We've done fast food mukbangs, chain restaurants, huge quantities of cheap homemade food, like the grilled cheese or the 8 ramen in a hubcap that she had. Telling stories, the creepy pastas, gotta be honest, they weren't bad. The time warp videos, not bad. In isolation. We're not talking about the creator, we're talking about the content that was created. And those were, to me, the most enjoyable. Such that if I didn't even review or react or do whatever I do to Chantal, I might still watch, because they were kind of interesting. But that's a version of Chantal that either never existed or doesn't exist anymore. She's just a very different person than she was initially. Or she presents herself differently. But if you're an asshole, why wouldn't you keep it to yourself? I know she can't keep it to herself, but why wouldn't she? So the stories, I used to like. Eating a meal she prepared was another thing. The HelloFresh ones. Eating only vegan mukbangs. Eating only healthy ones. Being a food reviewer. Recreating viral shit. Any of these other things we've tried around eating. And it might have just hit maximum reach. That you just aren't going to get more views on a mukbang video. I don't know how much more grotesque they could get. I mean, she didn't go entirely headlong Nikocado, but not too far. So, I would say for her, get ready to get messy, because the only ones that seem to spike are the piggy ones, the ones where she doesn't talk much. There was a lot of views. Her and Salva did one in the car, and of course she out-ate him like a champion eater. And the eating is done usually very quickly. These mukbangs are about 20 minutes, give or take, usually lower. And she eats an entire pizza, where she'll eat enough food for 3 people, or 8 candy bars in 10 minutes or less. It's no mystery that she's big. And it shouldn't be confusing to her that people think she looks bigger, because she looks bigger. So as with most things with Chantal, money and attention are paramount, and that didn't change this week either. I know her angle kind of is that because she eats for a living and she likes to eat and gets paid for it, that everyone watching is to some degree jealous because they, of course, in Chantal's mind, would indulge in hurting themselves if they thought it would make money. Chantal can't see how other people might have boundaries about that, but she doesn't, and she kind of does what she pleases, and she thinks anyone would just kill to have her job. Watching Chantal overeating is tantamount to watching Eugenia Cooney on a treadmill. She can do whatever she wants, they both can, but the optics of it aren't very good. People do rush to conclusions sometimes, but also are not the great they, with the capital T. They are not idiots. They can see through a lot of that stuff. So it's just not something I think a lot of people want to see. And the people that do want to see it, it's curious what their motives are to me. I'll just say curious. I'm not saying they're all foodie perverts, but if you weren't, I know there's other people who eat with another person on camera to feel like they're having a conversation, people that are isolated. I've heard people with food issues find company in that sort of way. Sure. But none of that is what's happening here. None of that is what's happening in any of these videos. So, hey, sweetie. You guys remember Bandit, right? So, no more Dear Modest Miriam will ever be there again. Nothing. No views. Miriam doesn't bring them in. Chantal, Foodie Beauty, is what brings them in. And it's not really a big deal because, in her faith, people would bring up often, isn't it against gluttony against this? Isn't it against that? Like, how do you practice your faith and reconcile it with that? The only thing she doesn't have a problem with is the outfit, because it takes very little effort, because not to be gross and not to be judgmental, but it usually looks like it has a few days wear before she changes and puts something else on. And things that are so overflowing that they're, if a 7X abaya isn't big enough, I don't know what to tell you. You're going to start to outgrow shoes. There's only so many places our bodies can store weight. I've been fat. I'm still kind of there. We're in a transition period. But I've been far fatter than this, and I can vouch for the fact that what most people say about Chantal, eats all the time, lies about how much she eats, she smells, that kind of thing. Look, when you're fat, you smell. You do. I've been fat. You smell. You sweat places people don't, because they don't have folds of flesh all over the place. And there's a particularly disgusting smell if a person hasn't bathed in a while. It usually has some sort of fungal, yeasty thing going with it. We'll leave that there. That's too gross. But suffice it to say, these things are not being imagined by people. This is what life is like. This is what it's like to encounter a person of her size. You don't see a lot of 400-pound people who are 5 feet tall walking down the street. It's a spectacle, which makes the abaya ridiculous, because it makes her more of a spectacle, because it's a 400-pound Western woman, pale as could be, traipsing her way through Kuwait, living in a fart box. I don't know. I would say either eat crow with the Muslim thing, or just stop doing it. It's so rude. It's so self-centered. And I know that's not news to her, but it's really one of the worst things. It's right up there with the animal shit. It's bad. It's bad. So it's not meant to be modest for her. There is nothing modest about the way she wears it or who she is. So that's almost laughable right out of the gate. So if you've been watching any videos this week, you're probably familiar with the phrase luxury fart box. Well, as it would happen, Chantal, they got a new condo, her and Sala. Who's paying? I don't know. Are they citizens? Is it for tourists? Is it temporary housing? Do they have to be family? I don't know. But like most things with Chantal, there's always this air of scumminess, like someone's getting away with something. And I think she likes the feeling that she gets away with something other people don't. She gets a rise out of the fact that the rules, as they pan out, tend not to apply to her if she doesn't want to. And not only do they not apply, she feels like she's been targeted in instances. Anyway. So she films the inside of this with Sala, the inside of their new place, and it has a beautiful ocean view. Oh God. It just looks very nice. And we've seen this place in the background before. They drive around Kuwait a lot. And so people being people, and YouTube being YouTube, and social media being what it is. I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just saying this is what was happening, is that people found out where she lived because she can blame Sala, opened up the electrical box, the like fuse box type thing in the apartment, and their address was written inside. Now, nobody went through her trash, followed her home, did any of that stuff. She gave it away. She gave it out, pretty much. And then became angry about that. And decided that people who were sharing her private information should be struck for privacy. So some smaller channels got struck for privacy. But that's what she considered private. That's what was too revealing. That. Talk about false outrage. I mean, are you kidding me? People do go, I shouldn't say people. I wouldn't go so far as to call the place she's living and try to either rat her out or make their business sound bad. The reason I don't feel like for me I could do it is because there's collateral damage beyond just Chantal. It's not like it puts her on blasts. This whole building now gets sucked into her madness. And I don't think that's an okay thing. But I'm not everybody. And I know YouTube and social media, same as the rest of us do. And not everyone has the best motives. And some people like to stir the pot. And some people don't care if anybody else gets hurt as long as Chantal has a consequence. So, while I would not go in and rename a building a luxury fart box, I would feel the same way as if it was that restaurant or the hotel that Chantal went to and they were telling everybody they were there and all that stuff. Like, it's too deep for me. That's not a road I would go down. But her reaction to all of it was stunning because she instigated it. She would have known people would have been dying, and she probably thought, who the hell is going to find a place where she's living in Kuwait? But this is where we are. There are people who will find the information and who will share the information. Is it okay? Is it a surprise? No. It shouldn't have been a surprise, and so more safeguards should have been in place. I mean, how many more times are you going to let your channel go in jeopardy because of Sala? You know, who's going to be around longer? Do you think he's the last man you'll ever be with? Really? So I guess, I mean, Chantal can have a perspective. Are some things too personal for YouTube? And if I would say, of course, resounding yes, I don't think most people would have to hear about that. But when she puts herself out there and then demands privacy, like I know the course of treatment for gonorrhea, thanks to Chantal. Let's not talk bullshit about modesty. Modesty is just another way to try to get attention, as backwards as that sounds. In order to be less revealing, I'm going to wear the tightest thing I can find in one color, covered up completely. And what's interesting is that she's not a practicing Muslim. She's not. She just likes Muslim guys. So she converted. She wouldn't be the first woman to do it. I've been in prison. I know who shows up for visits. I've seen what's going on. But, you know, if you want to think this one's different, it's not really like that. This one really loves me. Someday, maybe, if she gets her shit together, she'll find someone. But this mess she's in right now, there's not going to be like a happy ending to this. She probably said something stupid in the first week of talking, like, oh, we should get married and then you can just come here. Yuck, yuck. And because he didn't say hell no, she has now written the entire relationship all the way to the end. So, I don't know, stay mad. Stay mad. Most of us don't have to worry about our places being doxxed. Anybody can usually find whatever they want, if they want to, going through a channel. So, I mean, if they want to play detective and sleuth, that's one thing, but just handing people the information and then getting mad that they run with it. I mean, where did you think you were posting a video to? And why didn't you catch it in editing? How is that other people's fault, you know? So, whatever, just use it as an excuse to dox your ex's girlfriend's mother's nursing home and use one as justification for the other, I guess. All right, so I'm just going to touch on Missy Moo and that for a second. The back and forth with that kind of continued. There was an email that came out. It was either right after we met last week or like right on the weekend that Missy Moo alleged was sent to her mother from Chantal. And it said as much as, you know, your daughter's doing this and you need to have her stop immediately and blah, blah, blah. Here's the problem. I don't 100% believe that it was Chantal. If Missy Moo could be that close and that kind and that, whatever she was, bonded with Chantal, then she's capable of the same stuff because she obviously tolerates it because if she was friends with Chantal, she put up with hers. So I don't know how sincere she's being. I don't know if I trust the stuff that she's created. Why do I think hers more than others? I don't know. It's a vibe. I'm sorry. It's just a vibe. I've got nothing to back it up with. I'm just talking. I just don't feel like that situation sits well, that the intention that comes with it. And it got boring. Either show DMs or shut up. How long are you going to drag it out? People will watch for a while, but eventually they won't want to hang around for, guess what I'll show if they don't do this and they don't do that. That's the only part of YouTube that is like the social media-y part of it that I don't like. Drama and back and forth and stuff like that. I'll just stay back here and share a few thoughts using very little footage or video if possible and just have my coffee. So the Missy Moo thing, like I said, I don't trust her, so I don't know if anything going on between either of them is true. I think it's just to keep something going. So to wrap it up, so to speak, just touching on the fact, now, is it worth bringing up in a video that a fat woman is still fat? Not so much. But she weighed herself, or was showing that she weighed herself, and I think they were her feet. People were suggesting it could have been somebody else. Those Flintstone feet aren't hard, and they're size 9, I believe, as well. She got on a scale and said that she had lost 2 kilograms. 2 kilograms. Doing 3 weeks worth of eating fast food. And so that's enough evidence for her to continue. Now, if she had lost 2 kilograms through eating less and fresh air, she'd be acting like it was the end of the world, that she was going to die of exhaustion. But because she got to sit around and eat fried shit all week and think she lost, that's 1 trip to the bathroom for Chantal. Probably. Just based on what, again, private Miriam. How do I know your bowel habits? Or the C. diff? Or any of that stuff? No one snooped through your garbage. No one dug through your accounts. You shared all this information with everybody. And then don't want them to remember it when it's unflattering later. Look, we all change. There's plenty of stuff, I'm sure, on our channel that I said 3 years ago that it would make me a hypocrite now. I would like to think I'm not the same person I was a few years ago. We all grow and mature and whatever. So I'm not claiming angelic perfection here by any stretch. I'm just saying it's become her screw-ups are the center of the channel. Her mess of her life is the center of the channel. I don't think too many people would be interested beyond a few weeks if Chantal lost weight or something. No one's gonna care too much. She used to gaslight getting weight loss surgery all the time. I'm going to see a doctor this week about weight loss. And then a week later, I never said I was going to a weight loss doctor. I said I was going to a doctor to talk about weight loss. Did you hear me? Okay. Stupid. That's perfect Chantalese. That's why you're gonna, stay mad. Stay mad. Most of us don't lose sleep if Chantal's upset. Most people don't. It's just for the spectacle. I don't know if that feels cold to her, or maybe it's more comforting, but people, for the most part, don't care. Don't like her choices, think she's unkind, and want to see bad things happen to her. Or at least be present when karma takes its turn. So we will see. I don't know. She's shown, there's more pictures shown of how large that she's gotten since she's been there. And she's going to be approaching height and width like evenly. Like they're going to be the same. She's not a terribly tall person. And because of that, I'm Dr. Now. Anyone watch 600 Pound Life? Oh wait, all of us do? Never mind. Or have seen it. She's not going to be okay if she stays at that weight. She's not going to be healthy if she stays at that weight. And losing 2 kilograms is not, it's a start to what? She believes the fast food is helping do it. Of course she likes the line of logic, that the thing that everyone says isn't helping, she can insist is helping and back it up with some numbers. Okay. Let's see when she's back in the Western world where she can find clothes. I mean, you can always go to Shein and Torrid and stuff like that, but this isn't going to last forever. She is not going to live out her years in Kuwait. She is certainly not going to do this Muslim cosplay because she's going to find herself in a situation where it's not convenient at some point. And so she'll take it off and she won't wear it anymore. Once her hair grows out, I hate to think that she is so shallow as to just convert to cover her body and her head, but frankly, she's made more shallow decisions, so maybe. Maybe. I don't know. And so where do we go from here? What's going forward now? Well, the mukbangs will continue. She's not making a killing on them like she used to with other content, but she's making enough, at least enough for her to be satisfied that she's going to keep doing them. But usually as a video sits, it'll accrue views and views, and she's got old mukbangs with like 6-figure views, maybe with some millions, and she has a bunch of them right together. You know, that explains the growth of her channel, that a lot of people at one time were all watching at once, and the channel grew and grew and grew. And then, for whatever reason, she was doing the kind of stuff people don't want to watch anymore. Or she hit maximum capacity of people who want to watch a eating disordered victim blame everyone else for her life. So, that gets a little to train wreck appeal, you know. I'll give her this, she lasted years with train wreck appeal. Who can stay that fucked up for that long and not have a consequence? Chantal. You know, we all know a Chantal. We all know someone who gets away with everything and you're just waiting to see the other shoe drop and schadenfreude and all that. But, and is that part of me watching her still? Yeah. Part of me wants to think the world works a certain way, that certain behavior is not acceptable, that what does go around comes around, that karma could be somewhat in this life with that. And so I watch and wait, and we'll see. So thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for joining me today. Please do subscribe, notification bell. You get alerts when we have new videos and go live. You can follow us on Facebook, Smokeysteveandmarc, on Twitter, @SmokeysteveA, Instagram, Smokeysteveandmarc, one word. Email, contact info, it's all below. Thank you for joining us today, and we will catch up with you tomorrow. We're going live at 6 p.m. Eastern for our usual Sunday live. Open chat, no topic, just a place to come chill. It's usually a good time. So if you're around and you're feeling like it, please do stop by. All right, thanks for watching. Bye. Say goodbye, Marc.